class, we are focusing on the hips, getting really deep in the hips, but not just the hips. We're also going to focus on creating some length and some space in the quads and in the hip flexors. And a bonus to that is your ankles. And you'll see as we go into the poses how much of ankle work we do. So when you go into these poses, or specifically just one pose exactly, I want you to think about the hip flexors and your quads, the straight muscle that goes from your hip joint passes all the way through the knee joint. We're really going to get that a big stretch. I do recommend blocks because we're definitely going to use one, but you might need two to give you a little support when we go deeper. So the first thing you're going to do is you're going to make sure the toes are pointing down in plantar flexion. Lean to the side and place your left foot down and sit up tall so your sit bones are down, and you want all toes pointing back so that your ankle is not sickling. So what that would mean is the ankle is rounding and you want the knee down. Now, if this position is challenging to be in already, or your knee is lifting, you don't want your knee to lift, you want to keep everything safe, what you can do is grab a block and use it at the vertical position, not the horizontal position. So I'll show you short end. So short end facing forward and sitting on a block. And that's totally fine. You know, everybody's at a different position and a different state in their life. So I really want you to be supported as we go deep, because we are going to go deep. Okay, so you can use the block. Now I'm going to show you without the block. So the first thing you're going to do is lean back, lift your chest. And now make sure the knee's down. So remember, if your knee is coming up, maybe add 2 blocks because you don't want to put extra pressure on your knee. So keep the chest broad, and now you're going to lift your hips, squeeze that glute on the right, keep your hips lifted, and you're just going to pivot the hips side to side. Keep your chest lifted, you're not slumping. You want to keep the chest lifted and pivot the hips side to side. So you're oscillating into that hip, into the quad, and into the hip flexor. Now, another thing is you don't want to break at the hip, so that's an anterior pelvic tilt. You actually want to go to a posterior pelvic tilt. You want your tailbone going that way, okay? All right, so now keep that engagement and pivot side to side, chest lifted, straight arms, spread the fingers, you can have a little micro bend. Good, and then slowly lower down. Now lean to the opposite side to release the foot and the knee, and the block if you are, well, keep the block if you're using it, and then lean to the other side, bring the left knee down and adjust. Keep your chest lifted, and now lift up, squeeze the glute. Again, you don't want to make sure you're breaking at the hip. You want to really lift, squeeze, and then just start to pivot the hip side to side. And you can play with lifting the chest a little bit more. Just try not to slump. You really want to keep that engagement, and that's going to help you with the posterior pelvic tilt. And just notice, is there any difference on this side? You know, one side could be so much tighter than the other, and you don't know until you get in it. Okay, go for one more. Keep squeezing that left glute, and lower down, lean to the side, come back up. Okay, so now bring the right foot down. I think I messed up on the sides. Okay, so let's fix that. So this is my left foot, this is my right foot. Now, when you're in this position, we're going to go deeper, so you can use the block, okay, or add 2 blocks if you need. So we're going to go from here, lifting the pelvis, same thing. But before we do that, you're going to come down onto your forearms and keep the chest lifted. So we're not going to release the chest, we're not going to keep it collapsed. We want to lift the chest, and now lift the hip. So there's less range of motion in this position, and then you're just going to tilt the hip side to side. And when you're doing this, you want to keep drawing the tailbone toward the front of the mat. So you still want that posterior pelvic tilt. And then keep going, pivoting the hip side to side. and release, and you should feel it even more, but you got to really work on that posterior pelvic tilt. There's less range because you're lower to the ground. Okay, come up, lean to the side, remove the leg, and bring the right knee down, shin down, and adjust. Use blocks if you need. At any point, make sure the knee is not coming off the mat. Lift the chest, and try and keep, your elbows a little bit underneath your shoulders, just enough so you can keep the chest lifted. Lift the hip, and again, pivot side to side. And try and keep reinforcing that posterior pelvic tilt. And you don't even have to worry about what the name is. You can just think your tailbone toward the front of the mat. And just notice how the range of motion is on this side. And lower down, come onto your palms, lean to the opposite side to come up. Now, I'm going to show you before we go even deeper that if you're using blocks, I'm going to show you on this side. If you were using blocks, I would keep using blocks. You have two options because I'm going to go show you the final part where we're going to go. And I only want you to do this if you're safe in the position, because if your quad is tight, it's going to pull on the knee, especially if you're trying to go lower, and maybe your back body, your hamstrings, and maybe your ankle is tight too. So many things can come up. All right, and you really are getting a good ankle stretch in this plantar flex position. So it's a little side benefit for you. Okay. So now, you're going to stay in this position, so you're using the block, and you can go further back and keep the chest lifted. So that we're going to just work on the energy of that action. So the energy of drawing the tailbone toward the front of the mat, so that posterior pelvic tilt, squeezing the glute, and really feeling the hip and the quad stretch. So you're driving the knee down, keep the chest lifted. So you can stay here. You can play with that variation. Or I'm going to take the block away. And again, that posterior pelvic tilt, getting into the position. You can stay here without the block, or you can even go lower and adjust, lift, squeeze the glute, make sure that knee does not lift. And again, the pubic bone coming toward your head, tailbone going toward the front of the mat, and then that energy. So I'm fully working in this position, getting deeper into the quad stretch, the top of the hip, but I did the other work before to get to this point. And you can just bring your arms overhead, you can keep drawing the tailbone down, and make sure you're breathing. And you're active with this leg, supporting leg. You can even try, and we can see how this goes, you can try hooking the fingers around the hamstring, drawing the leg up, and circling the ankle around, and reversing the circle, and then release. And now to come out, it's the same thing. You're going to press down through your elbows, come onto your palms, lean to the side, come out, and now we'll do the other side. And if you're on blocks, I don't really want you to go back because it's very possible your knees will lift off. So you're going to stay on your forearms and keep lifting your chest. Okay, for the other side, right shin down, that posterior pelvic tilt. Make sure you're not sickling. Lower down, and then keep working on that posterior pelvic tilt, and then ease your way down, and again, keep posterior pelvic tilt, and you can even rock a little bit, keep rocking toward the foot, so you really get that hip to come down a little bit more, squeezing the glute and breathing into that quad and that hip flexor. And like I said, it could be so much different on this side. So I don't want you to force anything. I just want you to be like an investigator. You're investigating how it's going so you get the adequate stretch. And make sure you're breathing, because you'd never go for a run or a walk and hold your breath. It's the same thing when you're trying to release tight areas in like a yoga position or yoga pose or stretch. And again, you can bring your arms overhead, keep working on that posterior pelvic tilt, and you're engaged, you're working, you're not just hanging out in this position. Good, and keep thinking knee down, tailbone toward the front of the mat. All right, and then again, we'll see how this side goes. Draw the knee to the chest, and then draw the leg up and circle around, and reverse the circles. Good, and then release, push down on the elbows, coming onto the forearms, coming onto the palms, adjusting the tailbone, lean to the side, bring the leg up, and now we can stretch out the legs, shake them out, and we're also, make sure you're on your sit bones, take your palms on your knees, and just give them just a loving, kind massage, because they do so much for you, just like the rest of your body. And then reverse the circles. All right, and you can keep massaging, so I want you to explore one side to the other. How did the hips feel and how did your ankles feel? You know, we were in a plantar flex position, but with the foot down, that's a dorsiflex position. And we need ankle mobility as well as we need our hips to be mobile, because we're walking upstairs, we're bending, we're twisting, we're rotating throughout our day. You know, even just lifting laundry or groceries. So I hope you got some opening in the hips, in the ankles, in the quads. Comment below. I'd love to hear how it went for you. Like it, share it, and let me know if this was beneficial, if you noticed any difference, so I can make more and help you along the way. I'll see you soon.